Good evening, all, and welcome back to Elle's Messages of Light. And if you follow me, welcome and thank you. I appreciate you helping my channel grow. That's what this channel's about, getting out there and helping others on their spiritual path, whether that's twin flame, soulmate, spiritual awakening. We all have our own individual paths that is preordained, predestined for us. And mine happens to be twin flame. So, I will talk about my path and my experiences, and I do this because of, I know that's part of my twin flame journey. It is to help and guide others from the experiences I've had to go through on my path. Today's reading's a little bit different. So I was just going to pull one card out of my When Women Had Wings deck, but then Spirit had other ideas, as always. And these two cards flew out. So, one depicts a masculine, one depicts a feminine. So quite clearly, the message is they want me to speak about the female and the masculine energies on our journey. Not just on our journey, but, in humans themselves, You don't have to be on a spiritual journey to embody the female and masculine energies. We all embody them. It's just, they can be imbalanced, and the idea is to balance these two energies out. So anyhow, it came through automatic writing. Again, if you've been following me, you'll know that this is our channel. And I also just go with the flow intuitively when I'm online. But I shall read out what messages was coming through while I was automatic writing. Quite long reading. So if you'd like to get a cup of tea, a few bickies, make yourself comfortable. We could be about 20 minutes or so. I'll try and get through it as quickly as I can. But there's important messages Spirit wants people to know. So here goes. So the deck that I'm using, it is created by women for women. But that's not specifically gender based. So we all hold the female energy, but we all also hold the masculine energy. And these energies reside in us all, whether we are female or masculine. So the feminine energy and the masculine energy represent two different but necessary aspects of our human nature. Like the yin and the yang symbol, this shows a part of each in the other. The sun, the moon, the light, the dark. One can't exist without the other. So when we learn to balance these energies, we open up ourselves to becoming our more authentic selves. We start understanding people, we start understanding ourselves more. We become more confident in who we are and more confident in our capabilities. Walking through life and business, relationships, we just become more confident. So embracing our female and our masculine helps us stand in our true power, and it really does. I would like to say throughout my 7 years on my journey, my spiritual awakening, I was more feminine. Obviously, I'm the divine feminine in my connection, without a doubt. I was that nurturing energy, I was that loving energy, I still am, but now I've found a balance. So my masculine is online now. So I can be confident, I can be, dominant, I can I can stand in my own power. I can run a business, So I've got that balance of the two. Whereas before, I can quite confidently say I didn't have that masculine energy balanced in me. It's very imbalanced. I didn't have that masculine. I didn't have the I didn't have that dominant energy in me. I didn't have that stand in your power energy, I mean, the divine feminine is powerful in her own energies and being loving and being nurturing, and they're beautiful qualities. You should never ever try to diminish them qualities of the divine feminine, but we also do need the masculine as a divine feminine, or vice versa. The masculine needs the feminine energy. So any masculines that are listening to this, it's really good to embrace your divine, your feminine energy, that sensitive energies that we hold. It's so good to balance the two. And I'm getting off on a tangent. See, this is what spirit does to me. Just comes flowing through. But I shall go back to the automatic writing, and yes, we'll just see where it leads. But, so like if these energies are imbalanced, we can become misaligned. So, to truly be in one's, like in our own capabilities and our true soul selves, we have to balance these energies. So it's really important to work on ourselves and balance these energies. It's really important to understand as a feminine gender that it is okay to embrace your masculine, and it's okay to embrace your feminine as a masculine gender. It's really important to embrace both energies. And in society, we can get stereotypes, and it's, I think we're waking up to a world that's a bit more embracing. When a masculine wants to embrace the feminine energy, I think, I'd like to think that we're a bit more open to a woman standing in her power, that masculine energy too. But it's both ways. So I think, and embracing all these, we create inner harmony, we create peace. Creative inspiration can come flooding through. We're more balanced to deal with issues that could otherwise, tip us over. We're creating that perfect balance to deal with life's issues that it can sometimes throw at us. We have better relationships with people. We have better relationship with ourselves. We know ourselves more. We can get through life's struggles easier. So the key is to balance these energies in us all. Not eliminate one or the other, but to find balance, and that is truly where, you start feeling a peace in your life. You start feeling that harmony. On my journey, I look back to the person I was, to the person I am today, and I've still got all those qualities of being nurturing and kind and loving and, helpful to others, and they're qualities I've had since I was a child, and I won't ever, I won't lose them, and I don't want to lose them because, I used to get called sensitive. Oh, you're too sensitive. But it's not that I was sensitive, it's because I was empathic. So I could feel things that others didn't feel. I could sense things that others, didn't sense. I could feel when someone was emotional, Now I really do feel it more and more. Now I've opened up all my gifts and I've let it just, I'm basically walking in my true authentic self that I was always meant to be. Not numbed down, by society or your parents even, teachers, authority. How many times can you remember being told at school, be quiet? that's being told not to voice yourself, or you've been told that you're wrong. Well, what's to say that you're wrong? It's just different, opinions, different ideas of, but no, it's it's learning to truly embrace your your qualities of like the divine feminine. I embrace all of that now. I am a divine feminine is very, very powerful and strong. We have such power in us. You can be soft, you can be strong, you can be powerful, you can be all of that. The divine masculine, they're they're powerful, they're dominant. They're action takers. They get things done. But we can be all of that too. You've really, all this healing for me in the last 7 years and going through the twin flame. I wouldn't be where I am today if I wouldn't have had. Well, if I wouldn't have had, I'm still on this journey. If I wouldn't have had my my spiritual twin flame awakening, I would. It was meant to happen. It woke me up to balancing these energies out in myself, to healing, going into the shadow, going into the shadow, the light. Looking deep. Dark places that you don't want to go, but the dark night takes you there, and I'll talk about that in another video. But I'm taking my time on the dark night because I will know when it's right. That the downloads will come, and pen to paper, automatic writing, or just whichever channel spirit wants to come through me, it will just flow. But it doesn't seem right at the moment for me to talk about the dark night. So balancing your female and your masculine is key to harmony, to peace in your life, to peace in yourself, we all have struggles in life. Yes, we all will have challenges in life, but once you balance these two energies out, you deal with it easier. Those struggles they'll affect you, of course they will, but they don't keep you down long. They don't affect you like they used to. Honestly, take it from one who knows, who's done the healing. You are not affected. You've eradicated that fear as well. I don't have fear anymore. Nothing. Yeah, you don't have that fear. You don't live in that state of fear like I used to. I don't live in that state of fear anymore. So something bad happens. Well, I'll know that I know there's reason behind why. But yeah, nothing really. Once you get to this stage of your journey, fear is not it's not in your vocabulary anymore. But again, that's for another day. So so I shall talk about this card now. And as you can see, all these cards are a beautiful, like, ice blue. Like, just, that's so prominent in all these cards. And that struck me instantly when they all came flying out. But yeah, this card is the suit of it's the wands, and the wands represent passion and creative spark and fire in all its energetic form, and getting ideas off the ground. And this card is about growth and expansion and opening up to new ideas and broadening your horizons. That's not just in career, but also in your personal life. And it can also represent collaboration with other businesses. It can represent teamwork. And it's a card of you've built a strong foundation already, and Spirit's saying that there's just some more work to be done, you know. But broaden your horizons. Don't be scared to take that next step, you know. Don't stay still. Now is the time not to stay still. Now is the time to push through your challenges. Now is the time to push away all your doubts. Avoid small thinking, they're saying. Go for your dreams. You know, travel could be on the horizon. If you don't like travel, you know, push through that block. For your business. Study. If there's something you want to do and you keep putting it off, study for it, you know. Get that knowledge, get that spiritual knowledge. You know, whatever business you are, you've built a foundation in, or you want to build a foundation in, Spirit's saying cast away those doubts. And go for your dreams, you know, and dream big. There's no room for playing small, Spirit says. And just reach for your dreams, you know, this card is. There's no room for any doubts anymore. You know, and that's pretty much where I'm on my path. You may have heard me talk about taking the next leap onto this channel, to creating this channel. But again, it's divinely guided. So everything from my path 7 years ago to starting my candle business, to you know, going through my Reiki attunements, to doing my light language courses, you know, everything was preordained for me. Once I get those downloads coming through, and Spirit wants me on a certain trajectory, they want me on that certain, you know, that study path where I have to be the student, but then I'll become the master, so to speak. I have no choice. I've always said it's like an invisible guides, even angels. Just, you know, I'm the puppet on a string, and when I get these downloads and this channeling comes through, I have to follow what's going to come through. And I know sooner or later the visions that I'm having and the download, that they'll all come to fusion, and every one of them has, from starting my business to the Reiki, to becoming a Reiki practitioner, to the net. You know, I was getting downloads last December to start this channel, and I knew that until I started the channel, these downloads wouldn't stop. You know, and I took this leap and I pushed all them doubts aside, because I also know there's many of us on the spiritual ascension path and twin flame path, soulmate path. We're in the new earth now, you know, so we're all opening up to that higher consciousness, you know, and so again, that's the seer in me. So I knew that this channel would create followers, it would help others, and again, because it's guided, you know, it's that knowing. You've got to be so strong in knowing your own spiritual path, you know. Although you're going to get doubters, you're going to get people basically doubting, you know, but again, it's a knowing. That's all I say to people. It's just a knowing, and you can't escape it, no matter how much you try. And believe me, I've tried. I laugh about it now, but yeah, I knew I couldn't escape it the minute I started feeling different with the energies and things. I started feeling energy and other people's energies. I knew it was opening me up to a whole new life, and it has. And you know, I'm really grateful for it now. And I'm going off in a tangent again, but this is how Spirit channels for me. So someone needs to hear that. If you're on a spiritual awakening path, twin flame awakening path, please know that, yes, the challenges are very challenging. You know, it's like no other path, the twin flame especially. But there's light at the end of these challenges, and there's a beautiful, beautiful life. And you know, ultimately, it's to find yourself, but it's also to help others. And I knew that. I was a healer way before, you know, I knew my path was to be a healer for others, by everything I've gone through. But yeah, so let me get back to the message. Right, let me find the downloads that came through. So yeah, the colour blue. I want to talk about the colour blue, and it's it's serenity, it's peace, it's wisdom, it's truth, it's honesty, it's wisdom gained through spiritual insight. Maybe that's why I was talking about my spiritual insight. The wisdom I've gained on my twin flame path, or not even my twin flame path, my spiritual path. These last 7 years. The colour blue represents spiritual insight. It's that heaven and the divine, and the blue represents endless sky and embodying a connection to God, inner peace. That's what I feel that inner peace now. I don't even feel fear. I don't feel that fear anymore like I used to. It's just that there's a point in this path, the last union, I would say, because I'm at the very end stage of my 7-year twin flame path. And quite strangely, my life path number is number 7, and I recognise this as I'm closing out a 7-year cycle on my path. And I feel such inner peace, and like I've come full circle, back home to myself. I've found my complete, divine sovereign self, and I can stand now and speak my truth. And I don't have no fear of others, laughing at me. I used to be like, no, I can't say that. They'll think I'm crazy. But I know I'm not crazy. I never have been. But yeah, that fear, you have to wait for all the blocks to get rid of that fear. That will come through, on this journey. So it's like your shadow work. We've all got shadow. We've all got light. I spoke about the shadow. It's not eradicating it. It's basically just, you're facing that shadow. You're looking at things in yourself. You're alchemizing that shadow, should I say? So, I think that's it. Oh no, I paired a crystal with it at the last minute, and this tarot reading's been totally unexpected. Like I say, I wasn't going to do one today, but Spirit has other ideas, and obviously the masculine feminine energy is the message. And so blue kyanite, also known as a super aligner. And, this crystal can quickly align all your chakras. And it's also, it's a balance, for your yin and your yang energies, so the masculine, the feminine. And, it's the perfect crystal to balance them two energies out. I've worked with this crystal, and it's very, very powerful crystal. In fact, I used this the other day on the light language and crystal healing transmission, and it's a beautiful one for the throat chakra, finding your voice. And you have to find your voice on this path. You have to speak your truth, stay in your power, and know that your path's your path, and it's all individual to us. No one's path's the same, and no twin flames path's the same neither. We're there's many twin flames, coming to light now, and every path is so different. And they're usually very unconventional paths because they're meant to challenge us. But every path for the twin flames is totally individual. So blue kyanite, if you would like to balance your your masculine and your feminine energies out is perfect for that. So, yep, spirit came through again. Yeah, but yeah, so I hope you all have a lovely evening, and I hope this tarot reading made sense to you. Sometimes, you know, they make sense to me, obviously, but again, because I intuitively channel too, after I've automatically wrote the messages down, you know, it's just the way that I channel. I have to go with it. So sometimes I just, yeah. But there you go. So I hope you got some knowledge and some guidance, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye bye.